today I'm going to show you two quick techniques before I show you today's main project, because I had some requests to explain how to do this. So this is the crinkle seam binding ribbon that you can find on page 25 of the January to June mini catalog right now. Pardon my reaching. And it's one of the things that you can do with this is stamp on it so that it matches your project, which we did in the first video. But someone asked how to dye it. Because some people have been using markers and other techniques, but this is very simple. You just need your stamp pad of your choice and a sponge to go with it. This is one of our sponges that comes in a circle. I always cut them in quarters. Cut a length of the ribbon, just lay it on here, leave the end for you to grab onto, and you just press on there with the pad, with the sponge, and pull her through, and it dyes the ribbon. And you might want to do it on both sides just to get it depending on how saturated you want your color to be. So that just dyes your ribbon very quickly and easily. All right, and we'll set that aside for now because we will come back to this piece of ribbon later. The other technique I want to show you is a technique using the Aquapainter. This is an Aquapainter. You get two in a pack. They are on page 180 in our annual catalog. This is the 2019-2020 annual catalog. And, oops, just brush that right over there. I have this board here because I just have a folding table in my stamp room and it gives a little bit. So I use this piece to give me a nice solid surface, especially when I'm using larger stamps. I'm going to be using Beautiful Day, the butterfly from there. Beautiful Day you can find on page 131 of the annual catalog. I'm using Pacific Point. And we're going to stick that on like that. I'm doing it on my hand, holding that in my hand so I don't shake the table like I did on the last video. Press that on there. All right. So very quickly, before this gets dry, I'm going to start using the Aquapainter to pull the color out of there to color the butterfly while it's still wet. Now, the Pacific Point is a rather potent color, so you know, stronger inked colors like that work better. Like Mango Melody would do this very well too. And we're just going to color that in. Now I'm only using the thick Whisper White cardstock. This is not watercolor paper. So you don't want to get that fiber off of there. You don't want to paint too long in any one area because it will start pilling up and the paper will get yucky. So that's a technical term. So you just want to paint very quickly and get through there and pull out the color. You can always pull some from the darker areas if you need a little more. But for the most part, you're going to be able to get a nice amount of color when you paint your butterfly here. And you can do this with the flower image that's in this set as well. Works very nicely. Lots of nice color coming out of those thicker areas. And you notice it doesn't really affect the sharpness of this image too much. A little bit, but not significantly. Okay. So generally get the idea there. Almost done, almost done. I'll finish it up. Ooh, lots of blue there. All right. Blend it a little bit, but not too much. You don't want it to start pilling up. Okay. Now for the classic technique. You take your stamp pad, flip it upside down, give it a little squeeze. And now the inside of your lid has become a paint palette. Now again, Pacific Point is a very potent color, so you just need a little bit, a little touch of it on there, and you will get a lot of color to start adding some shading in there if you want to. color that in a bit. Give a little extra, and I'll have to fussy cut this out because we don't have a die for this particular butterfly. But it's pretty well centered on there. I can maybe just leave it on a square and mount it on something. But it's a very simple technique. Anybody can do it. I'm not a painter. Painting is not my forte. But this is not difficult. My husband would make this look fabulous, I'm sure. But we like the quick and easy stuff. So a little bit more over here. All right. I love blue morpho butterflies. Those are my favorite. I always go to the butterfly house at the zoo to see those. Okay, so there's that guy. So we are going to set him aside, let him dry for another day. And now we'll move on to the project. So what we are making today is a triangle treat box. This is something that many of you have made before, but if you're new to stamping, this is a great, easy project. I'll put this guy over there so I don't smudge it. So I have stamped a 5 by 10 piece of cardstock, and I cut the 5 length first, and then cut it to 10, because then you have a nice piece left over that I used to make another one of these boxes in a different size, and I'll show you that one in a minute. So I used the technique we just showed you to do this. You can see I got a little smudgies there, and we'll show you how to cover that up because we love covering things up. Now, so after you've stamped it, then you pull out your Simply Scored and the stylus, and where you mark this halfway. So this is 10 inches, so I'm going to score it at 5 down the center, and it's 5 inches wide, and half of 5 is 2.5. So I'm just going to put a little mark there on that end, flip it around, put another little mark at 2.5 on the other end. Okay, now I'm sure, hopefully you can see that there is a black line here down the center of my Simply Scored. So I just have it at 6 inches, so it's just in the middle. The reason for that is projects like this. So now I can line up this score line to the black mark, and there's my center mark. So I'm going to line both of those up on the black line, and then I can score at an angle while remaining straight. Do the same thing on this end, from there to there. Flip it around. Ooh, smudges. Doesn't matter, it's on the inside. Let's see. This corner to that edge. And one more. This to this. Stay on that black line, and off we go. All right. So now I've made kind of a diamond and divided in the middle, right? So you do halfway on the short ends and right down the middle on the long end, okay? So now we take that and fold it. Do you have an old bone folder? I'm going to do it on this side just because that blue is so potent. You take that bone folder and give you a nice crisp fold line. I'll fold all of those. I'm going to do it backwards anyway, just to get a nice line. I'll flip it around when we're done. Bone folders and the Simply Scored you can find on page 189 of the annual catalog, the big blue one. All right, so now we've scored all those lines. Now I'm going to fold it the other way. And then the other thing that you need next is, let's see, so there's our little mistake when stamping because I pushed too hard. So I'm going to make sure that that goes on the inside. So this is what your box looks like when it's all done. Just flip up those ends, and you choose which side's going to be the front. And the front, I want this to be the front, So I'm making it go this way. That way, when you're looking at it straight, you don't see those edges. So if you have them like this, sometimes those little edges stick out and that doesn't look so good. So we want it to go this way. So you put those away from you. Now, you just need a standard hole punch. We'll open that guy up so we can get in there. And this is ultra thick paper, so I might take a little muscle. Maybe not. Nope, not too bad. Punch through both of those, okay? Open it up on the other side. Do the same thing. Try and keep it relatively in the same spot, right? All right. So there's that. So we have those holes in there now. Now we're going to pull out the, oh, where did it go? There it is. Our good old tear and tape adhesive. We like that. And pull a little strip of that. Now we're going to put that right on the edge of this one and on the edge of this one. Yep, that's going to be on the inside. You can tell that's the inside part because there's my smudgies, right? So there's that. So we'll pull that apart, pull it off, maybe. Release, release. There we go. And this one. All right. I'm going to put it back together one more time. Open this up. Put your fingers in there and just press down. Let me open that up so you can see what I'm doing. Press down on the edges because your adhesive is on here and here on the other part, right? Okay, and that's all the adhesive you're going to use to hold your box together. So, oh, and look at me. There we go. Okay. So there's your triangle box. And of course, now you can put all kinds of goodies in there. And then we're going to use, where did it go? There it is. I still have it on the old card. I bought a bunch of it. This is our white baker's twine. So I'm going to take a few lengths of that and I'm going to double it just because it's thin. And the easy way to tie this is to put it through your adhered edges first. And then the part that's going to go on the inside. Of course it's tricky because I'm using two. Get in there. And then through the last edge. And just pull it together like that. And when you tie it, it will hold the box shut. Okay, so that holds your box shut. Then I have this little hello friend that I made earlier. The hello and the friend are from the Well Said stamp set. It's got a ton of stamps in it. It's on page 47 of the annual catalog. So I'm just going to stick that right there. And there is my finished box. All right, so let me show you a few other ones. This is one that I made approximately 100 years ago. I think I did this with kids, so I didn't make it terribly difficult, but it is this one is 4 1/4 by 11. So the full length of a piece of cardstock cut in half, okay? And you'd use the same technique, but because it's not, the first one is 5 by 10 folded in half, so it's a little closer to being an equilateral triangle. It's a little more squat. This one's a little taller. So this is just pumpkin pie, I think, with, oh goodness, remember that ribbon? And just put some paper on there so it looks like a candy corn. Very simple one. And this is another one that I made long, long ago. using a stamp set that we no longer carry. But if you love the Eiffel Tower, we do have a set right now that has the Eiffel Tower in it, and it is on page 17 of the January to June mini catalog. It's called Parisian Beauty. Got a nice Eiffel Tower in there, little fleur-de-lis, and there's a very nice die set to go with this that cuts out your Eiffel Tower. It's awesome. I love it. All right. So, but anyway, that's not a box. And then I just today whipped this up very quickly. There's no ribbon on this one. So, I mean, you could put candy and stuff in here too and then tie ribbon on it, but I thought the ribbon would look funny at the bottom of a carrot. But if you just want some quickie table decorations for Easter some year, or spring or whatever, I just drew some lines on there with marker, and this is the sprig punch used on the Granny Apple Green cardstock, just to make a quick carrot, just for something cute. Now, you will recall that when I told you with the 8.5 by 11, I cut it 5 first so that I'd have a big piece left over. I made the first one, so the leftover piece then is this one, and it is 3.5 by 7 long, and then I use the same technique, and then I created a smaller box. So by comparison, there you go. These two were made out of one piece of cardstock. Okay, so this one I used, which one is this? The Tasteful Textures stamp set. I love this stamp. I bought it just for this stamp. That one's on page 135 of the annual catalog, and this is again using the Well Said stamp set that's on page 47. So now I'm going to pull back out that ribbon that we dyed at the very beginning of this video, and we're going to use that one to close this up. And do the same thing. I do the adhered end first, and then the part that's going to be on the inside, and the part on the outside. Tie that shut. It's great that you can dye this ribbon, because then you can match any project that you're doing. You can have ribbon that will match perfectly, because all of our inks and dyes coordinate. All right, trim off that little white end that we used to hold on to, and there we go. That one's all done now too. All right. That's that. If you make one of these boxes in any of the various sizes in which you can make it, let me know. Send me a picture and we'll share it. All right. Thanks. Have fun.